Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, first question. I've been hanging from a pull-up bar to stretch post-workout for years. This has helped my back and shoulders to have much less pain. Recently, however, I started to black out after a few seconds. Why and what are my options? Alright, brother, I want you to think this through for a moment. You're doing something that has helped you for years you've never had a problem with. Now you're fainting or blacking out when you do it. Lots of people hang from pull-up bars to help stretch after they train. I actually do it. I sometimes do it on my off days just to come in and just stretch my shoulders and lats and everything out. I do the same thing. All right, I actually believe in that. And it's a great way to just decompress your spine a little bit. It's good stuff. So that being said, there's no reason to think that what you are doing is unhealthy. Right? You have no reason to believe this activity itself is harmful or unhealthy in any way. Yet when you are doing it, you are blacking out. You're having some issue with your blood pressure or blood flow going on. When something like that happens, and it doesn't matter what it is, anytime you are partaking in a healthy activity that doesn't particularly stress the body, and you experience something serious like that, like blackouts or fainting, you need to go see your medical doctor. What could be wrong with you? Few things. But there's a lot of things that I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I'm not completely qualified to answer that. Your medical doctor is. Because it could be anything from a potential heart issue. It could be an issue to where you have some blood flow restricted somewhere and that area is being pushed on further. So you could have some sort of aneurysm going on. You could have some sort of neurological issue happening. I mean, it could be something like MS or something. You could have something serious. Blacking out for just no reason. I mean, sometimes people black out when they hit a max deadlift or they hit failure on a heavy squat. All right, fine. Sometimes you black out after a sprint. Okay, that could happen. You're doing a fairly low intensity activity. All right, that is a sign that there is a serious medical condition of some type going on. And anytime something like that happens, you need to get over to your doctor. You need to talk to your medical doctor. You need to explain to them what's happening and let them know this is new. You've been hanging and stretching this way for years and it's never caused you problems, but now it is. They need to find out what's wrong with you. And if that doctor can't tell you, you need to go get a second opinion until they can send you to a specialist who can tell you what's wrong. Because just my gut instinct, if you tell me something like that, you're blacking out as someone who works out and who's otherwise healthy. You are blacking out during a low intensity activity. No, you need to find out what's wrong. There's a problem. And I hate to sound like an alarmist, but yeah, there's a problem. You need to get to a doctor and you need to get to the bottom of it. All right, next question. I am looking for ways to incorporate cardio in my everyday life. Unfortunately, due to my work, it's impossible to hit 3 hours like you. However, I do have days when I can work from home. But one of those stationary mini bikes, the ones that are pedals only and can be placed under your desk work, it is not ideal, but I do not have space for a proper bike. Thanks. All right, now up front, I'm going to assume, because you said you don't have space, that you haven't seen my studio setup. I did a video a while back, and if you look for it, it's not hard to find, of my cardio setup, and it shows you my little studio. Like, I've got all of my workspace crammed into a pretty small little area. All of my hand loading stuff, my filming bench, my cameras, my computer, my bike are all in here, and I have a bike with a built-in workstation that I can pull over to my desk and put my stuff on. For most people, that is an easy way to do any sort of desk work, gaming, anything else that you want to do while doing your cardio. That is how I do 80% of my cardio of my 3 hours is on that bike. I have other cardio stuff. I have a bigger bike in my living room. I also go ruck sometimes outside. I've got a dog I have to walk every day. To be honest, I got a puppy. He has to be walked at least twice a day. So we take turns with that, and sometimes he gets 4 walks a day. So I've got a puppy that needs to be walked. So it's not hard for me. Now, I'm going to assume that you have a pretty small workspace then, the way you described it then. If you can't fit what I have in there, you got a real small workspace. Would one of those under desk bikes work? Yes. And I think they're a fantastic idea. I think more jobs, if they cared about fitness, if you want to see a company that really cares about the health of its employees, start bringing those to work. Have companies that put those under your desk that allow people to ride their bike at work to help with their overall insurance premiums, maybe of their company. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd love to see a company do that. Some big corporations for their people who have desk jobs. That'd be a great idea. That'd be a great idea. So no, I fully support that. And if they'll let you take one to work, if you have a desk job, see if they'll let you have it in your office. Talk to your boss about it. Wouldn't be a bad approach. It's not ideal, but it sure helps, and it does count. All right, next question. My bench is going down slowly, but my other related lifts, such as strict overhead press and weighted chin-ups, are going up. Any reason this could happen? I'm an early intermediate with an estimated max bench of about 220 to 240 pounds. Yeah, a couple different things. Are you losing weight? If you are losing weight right now, even slowly, sometimes your bench press is the first lift to go. Again, that's noticed in the literature when they look at different strength athletes. That's been noted in the research. Bench press tends to go first. It also tends to be the lift out of most of your big compounds that is most heavily correlated to body weight. So that could be it. You could be having an issue there. Now, your other situation is it could be a sign that you're overreaching too far. And I know you're like, well, I'm an early intermediate. Well, if you're an intermediate and you kind of finished your novice phase, you're at that point to where your work capacity might be high enough to push you into overreaching. It might be high enough to eventually push you into overtraining. You have a major lift like the bench press that's going down. It's going down. You clearly are having either a recovery issue, or you are not getting enough food, or you're not getting enough sleep. Now, if it's a recovery issue on the training side, might be time to take a deload. Might be time to take a full deload, a full 1 week deload. I have plenty of videos explaining how to do these. You could be at that point. In fact, if you know your nutrition is adequate and you know your sleep is adequate, and again, sleep is a big one. I usually find for a lot of people, sleep is a big factor. A lot of guys are up too late, either studying too late, partying too late, up too late at 1 a.m. on their phone or their computer, and then wonder why their training starts to suffer when they were fine up until then. Well, you got strong enough now that your recovery and your sleep are becoming important. All right, sleep is a big factor. But if you know those are in order, it's your training itself. It's time to deload. Go ahead and take a deload, restart whatever program you're running. That's what I would recommend. All right, next question. As I approach the end of my cut in 188 down to 170, how would you suggest I transition out of it? You say reverse dieting and metabolic slowdown is not a true cause, as certain experts make it out to be, and is your stance on recompositioning the same? Or would you suggest a slow bulk, 1 pound a month? I'm an intermediate lifter. Thanks, Jason, for everything. Yeah, it's pretty well known that I don't believe in this whole metabolic damage nonsense. I don't think it's valid at all. The whole point of reverse dieting is psychological for bodybuilders and physique competitors. That's the whole point behind it, because they freak out when they regain water weight. So you bring them back up really, really slow. So number one, you can keep them from freaking out. Number two, so that you can continue to charge them for coaching services and make more money off of them. So that's multifold in nature. Now, I'm going to assume you're not a physique competitor. You only cut how much? Let me see, read the thing again. You only cut 18 pounds. You clearly are not a physique competitor. So, yeah, the whole concept of reverse dieting would be silly for you. Now, what I would say to you before you start talking about bulking again, I'm going to ask you, why did you cut? Why did you cut? Did you cut because you just felt you were getting too fat and you wanted to get the best ideal body composition moving forward? Or did you cut because you wanted to look better for a while? Now, I'm going to say on the latter, if you really cared about how you looked in your appearance for a season or whatever, why don't you just stick it out at the same body weight for a few months and enjoy it? And I'm saying that as a guy who doesn't care about that stuff, right? I don't care about that bullshit. The only reason I'm cutting right now is health, athleticism, and then the side effect be, well, I'll look better for YouTube. I can make more money off people who care about stuff like that. That's financial for me. Like, I don't grasp anyone caring about how attractive their physique is if they're not going to earn a paycheck off of it. I don't get that. But I'm going to assume that could be a reason. If that is a reason that you cut, and that does matter to you, because if something doesn't matter to me doesn't mean it doesn't matter to you. Like, you probably don't care about shooting 1,000 yards with a rifle at all, but I do. you could give a shit less. So, that being said, if that matters to you, why don't you just stick it out and enjoy it for a few months and stay at 170? You know, your gains aren't going to be very good. So what? Enjoy the end of your cut. Now, if your thing was just to say, okay, I knew for health reasons, being the best athlete that I could be, strength to weight ratios, I did a cut because better composition usually equals better performance. Go back to your slow bulk. You're fine. You're fine. Unless you have some sport, you got a weight class coming up, you need to be 170. Ease back into your slow bulk. I think a pound a month is a good start. You know what? 2 pounds a month isn't terrible. Is an intermediate, you know, especially coming immediately out of your cut. You're going to regain some water weight anyways. The first 2 or 3 pounds are going to be automatically water. You can gain that in one day. You can gain 5 pounds in one day, depending on what sort of cut. If you did a really, really high carb cut, you probably didn't lose much, if any, water. Like if you're cutting the way I'm doing, okay, that's different. If you did a bunch of caloric restriction, you're going to regain a little water. So some of it's going to depend on that. It's going to depend on what you're doing. But you might want to go ahead and, if there's some water loss, don't worry about going back up to 175 over the next month. Not a big deal. After that, once you get up to the 175, go back and gain 1 pound every month. Should be fine, about a pound a month, and that'll take you back up into the high 180s again after about a year. And you can reassess again from there. Reassess from there if you're ready to do another little cut, or if you want to do a mini cut at some point in there. All right, next question. Should women have an off-season bulk who hope to compete in the future? Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to do any powerlifting and they do not have a size base where they want it right now, like if you're going to compete in powerlifting, compete in strong women, you're going to compete in bodybuilding, I don't know, compete in bikini, a bulk to gain the extra lean mass you're going to need in the off season every now and then, not a bad idea. Does a female bulk need to be as aggressive as a male's bulk? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Doesn't need to be. Now again, barring water weight shifts, again, she wants to compete. I'm going to assume she's not a novice anymore. Novices, you can recomposition them unless they're skinny all day long. At first, you can recomp her. It's fine. If she's an intermediate lifter or higher, yeah, she might need an off-season bulk. Now, that off-season bulk doesn't mean she needs to gain 20 pounds. All right, she doesn't need to gain 20 pounds. But an off-season weight gain of 7 to 10 pounds, yeah, 7 to 10 pound weight gain for a woman over the course of 6 months, 9 months, do what you got to do. But you know, a lot of it's going to be relative to what she's competing in. It's going to be relative to her weight classes. It's going to be relative to what weight and body fat she needs to be at later. There's a lot of factors there. But quite frankly, if you have any woman who says, I need to gain several pounds of muscle, I am no longer a noob, and she wants to gain 3 pounds of muscle over the next year, she's going to have to gain weight. She's going to have to bulk. You're not going to recomposition 3 pounds of muscle on a non-novice woman who's not on gear. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. She's going to have to bulk a little bit. She's probably going to have to gain 2 pounds for every pound of muscle that she wants to put on. And that's probably reasonable. So if she wants to gain 4 pounds of muscle, she's going to have to gain 6 to 8 pounds of body weight. She might have to gain 10 pounds of body weight, depending on how much water weight she loses and gains. It is what it is. Otherwise, you're looking at a very, very, very slow muscle gain phase. If you're going to try to keep her at the exact same body weight and gain muscle, just be aware that is going to be a slow process. And that's fine if her size base is already built. If it's already built where she needs it, that's totally acceptable. If you have a long way to go, she's going to need to bulk. And it can be a clean bulk, it can be a slow bulk. She's going to have to bulk. That's reality. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.